Hi, this is Morgan Walton, and this is my case study for Module 11 for AEP 858. So to summarize the case a little bit, what is happening? There is a high absenteeism at the high school. About 85% of the students have missed 10 days or more in the first semester of the school year. And it's not being addressed properly, with 659 of the students out of about 900 of them missing 10 or more days. 5 of them were selected to review by the principal, who I will be. This takes place at Golden Oak High School, 965 students, 9th through 12th grade. Who is involved? Mr. Rhodes, first-year principal at Golden Oaks High School. Karen, she's an 11th grade student. Tyrone, a 10th grade student. Christina, 9th grade. Carl, 10th grade. And John is an 11th grade student. Some legal and or ethical issues. While no one's being necessarily harmed by the actions taken in this study, there is harm being done in that it's not being done properly. The common law doctrine that requires parents to send their child to school, it's still being followed in the way that the school is addressing and reporting most of these cases, although there are a few where they are not addressing them, which I'll touch base later. The law is not technically being broken, but there are definite ethical issues. Some students are being reported for low attendance while others are not, even though they have more missed days. Some students are excused from school for personal business while others are marked as unexcused, or some are allowed for personal business past the limit that the school board has set, and others are not allowed those to be excused. Some students are obviously valued more than others based on the 5 students that were reviewed. Some teachers and administrators are excusing certain students from school without reporting excessive absences, while other students are reported for fewer days missed. So to synthesize the facts, the people that are involved, the administrator is Mr. Rhodes, first-year principal at the school, and the students Karen, Tyrone, Christina, Carl, and John. Takes place at Golden Oaks. It's mainly a middle class, some upper class and some lower class families. It's a public school with not much diversity, although some recent move-ins have made the diversity a little bit more with some Hispanic and Asian families moving in. So to review and prioritize, the situation could be damaging to stakeholders or even the community because students are not being held to the same standards. This could create a divide, and it could create some major issues. So some students are being reported for low attendance while others are not. With the low turnover rate in the school, we have a lot of people who are teaching there who have been there for a long time. They can kind of get set in their ways and think that they know what's best for that school and that community. Although I do believe that Mr. Rhodes needs to take control over this as he is the administrator, even though he is the first-year principal. The students and families involved are the most important, or they do have the most important stake, as they could have legal issues if they don't comply. If a school reports a child for truancy, the parents have to follow up with that. They could have, it's breaking the common law doctrine that we talked about earlier, and it could cause some major issues for those families if they don't figure everything out with the school. None of the appropriate stakeholders have been involved with the issues with the imbalance, as far as I know, meaning that they have not, Mr. Rhodes has not yet contacted the teachers who were involved or the administrators, such as the athletic director. But the parents have been contacted if their child was reported, such as Carl's family when they were reported as truant. There is still more to learn about this situation, such as the teachers that are involved, the reasoning behind their decisions, and any resolution that may have been attempted previously that wasn't noted within the files. I do, however, know enough about the situations to make a decision of what I would do. So the options and the consequences. Option 1, take no action, ignore it, and let it continue. Option 2, contact the staff involved and have a meeting to discuss the issues. Option 3, reprimand those in the wrong and take control over absences as the principal. And option 4, conduct a full investigation and write up the staff involved. So evaluating the options. Let's look at these with the pros and cons. Option 1, take no action. The pros, you keep a positive relationship with your staff. The cons, nothing's done to support the families and the students. We have students who are obviously hurt, such as Karen, who was married the year in August, right before school started, and that's when her attendance dropped, her grades dropped. Obviously, something needs to be involved. The parents have requested conferences with teachers, and it doesn't necessarily state that those were allowed. So we definitely need to look into Karen's situation to support her and her family. Tyrone's family, he was allowed to go on 2 separate week-long trips with his parents, even though the school board policy doesn't allow that. So I find that interesting as well. Carl's family, his dad obviously doesn't seem to think that it's important for him to be in school, but we need to look at Carl's side. How can we support him? If we take no action, we're not going to be supporting our students, such as Carl. With Christina, she was present except for 3 separate weeks where she missed 4 more days, and the note was from the minister. I find that odd as well, because I'm wondering why the parents were not involved with that. So again, something needs to be done. Taking no action here is not going to support Christina as well. And then with John, he's obviously valued very well in this school system. The athletic director obviously believes that John is important and needs to be treated differently than the other students if he's allowed to miss 3 afternoons a week, and the teachers are not reporting that. So I find that weird as well. And if we don't address that, then we're not supporting the other students. So to me, option 1 is not a good option. Option 2, meet with the staff involved. The pros with that, student or the staff understand that they were wrong, but they still feel supported and that you met with them and you talked with them. The cons is that nothing's done for the current students and the families involved. If you simply address it in hopes that the situation doesn't occur again, you're not taking care of the current problem. Option 3, reprimand and take over the job. The pros of that, the staff will be held accountable. Jobs will be done by the principal now, which should involve fewer issues. If the principal is in charge of keeping track of the absences, then hopefully there will be fewer issues, as he seems to know the law a little bit better. Cons, it could cause a negative relationship with the staff if you reprimand them and then take that job away from them. And then it's also more work for the principal, which we don't necessarily know what else he has on his plate. And option 4, and have a full investigation and write up the staff involved. Pros, the issue will be resolved. The families and the students will be supported because these situations will be taken care of, and the staff will be held accountable. Cons, it could cause a negative relationship with your staff. So what's the best option? To me, it's a combination of option 2 and 3. Have a meeting with the staff involved, figure out why they made the decisions that they did, find out any other things that you know or that they know that were not in the reports, and see what more information they can give you. Second of all, reprimand them, but don't write them up. They may not know that they're doing something wrong. They may have been told by the previous principal that this is the way things need to be done. They may have been told by a different administrator that this is the way things need to be done. So I don't necessarily know that they need to be written up for it, but they definitely need to know that they were in the wrong. Step 3, take over the job of handling the absences, or at least ensure that I have the final say. If I'm the principal, I want to make sure that if a child is out of school for a significant amount of time, that I'm involved in that and I know why they're gone, and make sure that, first of all, the parents are involved and that the students are still going to be doing their schoolwork. They're not just missing to miss and be at home because the parents don't value education. That's breaking the law. And then number 4, make any necessary changes to the current reports. For example, John should be counted as excessive absences because he's missing 3 afternoons a week. I don't understand the athletic director wanting him to be gone Friday afternoons to rest. School's important, and he needs to be there. It's more important than football. even though some people may not agree with that. Tyrone's family seems to be upper class if they're able to take these trips. And I don't know that necessarily he should be allowed to do that if the other students aren't as well. Karen she's obviously having some things going on in her personal life that need to be addressed and the school needs to be aware of. If she is married as a junior in high school, then that needs to be addressed. The parents wanted a conference. We need to know if that conference happened and what came out of it. So these things need to be talked about, and any changes need to be made to the current reports. If a child should be truant, then they need to be turned in. If they were marked as truant and they shouldn't necessarily be, then that needs to be taken care of. All of these students should have the same guidelines. The teacher should follow the same guidelines when reporting these children. So implementing it. First, we need to meet with the staff and ask questions and gain more knowledge, such as I already stated. Next, the current reports should be revised to ensure balance and equity with those involved. Everyone should be treated equally. There should be equity between those, and there shouldn't be any discrepancies of why someone was excused and why someone else wasn't if the situation was the same. Number 3, the entire staff should be trained or at least informed of how this task is to be done properly. It seems to me that the staff has been told a different way of how it should be done, or they've been given instruction of to do it a certain way that's wrong. So it needs to be addressed. And then finally, the principal should have the final say of any absences, excused or unexcused. At least the principal should be aware. I understand in a big school it's going to be a little more difficult, but if there's a child who is gone repeatedly, such as the 695 students who we stated previously, this needs to be addressed, and maybe the principal needs to be meeting with more parents more often. I also believe that the policy surrounding the absences should be revised, although it does say that it follows state law, such as only allowing 3 days for students to be absent for personal reasons. That seems odd to me. I'm in a small district, so maybe bigger schools have that rule. But if a parent calls in saying that they're going on vacation, we as a school can't say that, no, you can't take them. My school currently, it's small, but it seems that we really value our parents and their relationship with their students. So we mark those as excused. We don't have a policy about students only being able to be gone for 3 days for personal reasons. So that struck me as odd. Maybe it needs to be looked into and revised a little bit to support their students and families a little bit more. So this is my case study, and thank you for watching.